Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Hey there, true believers. We're back to review our third Spider-Man movie, I'm told.
Yep.
I'm Niall.
And I'm your friendly neighborhood Nolan.
And we're going to be doing a review of Spider-Man Far From Home. And we're going to do a normal thing, do our spoiler-free review. Then give you a spoiler warning and get more in depth into it. And there's a little bit of spoil at the end of this.
Yeah, there is.
Actually. So, without further ado, let's swing into it, Nolan.
Let's.
This is a direct follow-up to Endgame.
They make reference to the events of Endgame throughout the movie.
Yeah, but what's his name? Oh god, I'm drawing a blank. Too tired. He runs Marvel Studios.
Kevin
Feige, thank you. Feige, I guess in an interview, I think it was Feige in an interview I saw was saying how they consider Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home to be sort of a trilogy of sorts. As this is the arc of the end of the old and into the new, and establishing the new Avenger or the new setup of everything. I don't want to get too much into that because you start approaching spoiler territory, but he does consider that the three movies are a group.
Yeah, so one thing I think might be a little bit of an issue where it might not draw the numbers that Marvel hopes is that I've seen online where on polls a big chunk of people are like, it just doesn't look as big or as important a movie as Endgame, so I'm gonna wait till it's on home media.
I don't understand.
And I think that's a problem with the marketing because it does look like a much smaller movie, but it is so much bigger than it looks. It's so much more important than it looks to the overall story.
Yeah, and it still is a smaller movie than
Infinity War. I don't know if they'll ever get anything as big as Infinity War Endgame again. If
they do Secret Wars, they might.
But
just saying,
it's gonna have to build up to it. But still, as far as important movies the
it is
MCU,
actually,
this is a pretty important one.
This actually is a pretty important movie to the overall MCU. I will agree with that. And it's I don't understand though why any superhero movie that you're interested in, why you wouldn't go see it in theaters is beyond me. Regardless of how quote unquote important it looks to the overall story.
Yeah. Especially when it's effects heavy as this one is.
Right, and that's the thing is just why every superhero movie is going to be a big special effects spectacle unless it's Shazam.
Yeah.
Which
was purposely not
right
as big a movie.
And so I don't understand why anyone would not go see a superhero movie they're interested in. And this was actually I really enjoyed this movie. There was one effect shot that had me kind of going, ugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember.
We'll get into that in the spoiler.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think I liked it better than Homecoming.
Yeah,
it's been a bit since I've seen Homecoming though, but I did like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you if I agree or disagree with that, but I did really like this. It struck a really good balance of humor and action and drama. Marvel's pretty much got it nailed down, but there's a certain blend of cheesy, campy sort of humor that's a hallmark of Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Tom Holland does it all really well. There's some really emotional moments too.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he's grieving for Tony Stark.
Yeah.
The only like real father figure he has. He had as a young man.
Yeah, well, I mean, his own father and uncle both gone.
Yep.
So
just stop being a male role model to Spider-Man, because it's dangerous.
Yeah, it'll kill you.
It will. But yeah, and I mean, Happy's in this quite a bit, which is always funny.
He tries to fill the role of Tony a little bit, but I mean, he's kind of awkward with it.
But he's happy.
So he's kind of awkward with it. But it's endearing.
Yeah. The whole thing, like I don't think it's really a spoiler to say that they're really leaning into the tech savvy Spider-Man, which, I mean, Spider-Man was always smart in the comics. He's always a science geek, and he like in several different versions. He had like a internship right out the gate at Oscorp and stuff like that. And he's always been really smart. And then later in the comics, Peter Parker has his own like tech giant company, it's like the size of Stark Industries, but focuses more on like chemical stuff.
Well, that
right?
came about through when Dr. Octopus was controlling Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that's
but after
right.
he got his body back, Peter Parker continued to run it until the arc where Steve Rogers turned out to be a Hydra
Steve-Will Rogers
plant, and because of his associations with I don't know, he lost the company basically,
yeah.
And so he was like sleeping on the couch of I forget her name, this other character.
But yeah, they're in this movie though, they're really leaning into the tech savvy Spider-Man, which, because they've established like this pseudoscience, like every time they need a cool new gadget, they have some crazy like Stark thing that can do what they need it to do. They need someone to replace that.
Right. And so they're kind of setting up Peter Parker to be that.
Yeah. And then, and all the supporting cast is all really funny. The relationship between like the way Happy and May interact with each other is really funny. Yeah, and then all the kids in his class and the teachers.
Yeah, basically no one in this movie has their life together.
Well, so. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's like a year or 9 months after the
snap.
Well, after they undid the.
Yeah, after they undid the snap. So that's a big part of this.
They call it the blip.
Too, yeah, the blip. The movie like even starts off like just summing up what happened, and it's like
it's a really well crafted joke right out the gate, where they explain how like they basically set the rules, because people had a lot of questions after Endgame, and by the way, we're this is spoiler free for Spider-Man. We're assuming you've seen Endgame,
yeah,
and Infinity War, but after they undo the snap in Endgame, or the blip, as they call it.
It's become known as the blip.
Yeah, well, because very few people know he snapped his fingers to make it happen.
Right, but people just disappeared, so they blipped.
Yeah, so they sort of established the rules of what coming back is. That everyone sort of comes back in where they were doing what they were doing, wearing what they were wearing. We still don't know what kind of crazy, science monstrosity a la The Fly might have happened with people like unblipping like in other people. That wasn't they didn't go over that, but they did establish like all these people that blipped away, they came back and they didn't age. Everyone else that didn't blip aged 5 years in the meantime.
Yeah, so they're dealing with the awkwardness of like one guy's talking about like his little brother's now older than him, and that's really weird.
And there's this guy in their class, they're like, he was that like snot-nosed kid always getting picked on, and now look at him. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
So
the
it's weird.
beginning it's a really clever way of establishing the rules, the new rules of this universe that you need to know to understand the story as it's set up. And and it's also just there's a really well crafted joke in there that had us laughing much harder than most of the people in the theater.
But yeah, so anyway, there's a lot of references to Endgame and the events around there, and the death of Tony Stark, and then like people dealing with the snap and everything. So
I think this is a really good way to handle Mysterio.
yes, I think we'll cover that in the spoiler.
Well, yeah, we'll cover it like in depth, but I will say that I think because Mysterio is always kind of a dumb villain. Well, okay, to be fair, most Spider-Man villains are kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm. But no, I thought like Jake Gyllenhaal, great performance.
Jake Gyllenhaal always gives a great performance,
but he was great, and then the way Mysterio was written and the way they handled him was great.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, this was the perfect way to handle.
It was a perfect
Mysterio.
way to handle Mysterio in like our modern mindset of superhero movies.
Yeah,
it was very well executed. So that was cool. If you're worried about Mysterio being dumb, like a dumb thing to include in this because he's dumb in the comics, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, everyone else gave great performances. Obviously, Sam Jackson gives great performance, and there's quite a bit of him in this as well.
Yep.
So yeah, anything else you got to say about this?
No, not really. Just go see this movie.
There's a mid credits thing and a post credits thing, and you should see them both because they're
both actually really important.
Pretty important, yeah.
But yeah, just go see it. Don't be one of those people that's like, well, it looks so small. It's a bigger movie than the trailers make it out to be.
Yep.
As far as just importance within the MCU. So, spoiler warning.
Yep.
And what should we talk about? Mysterio?
Yeah, let's talk about Mysterio. He's such a big part of this movie.
So, I actually read a review for this movie that took points away because Mysterio turned out to be a bad guy, and they were upset by that because they liked the character. And I'm like, a mind explode. Like,
baffles me.
I guess this person had never read a comic book. They had no idea who Mysterio was. I had figured out his plan basically before going into the movie because it couldn't have been anything else. But it was still, so it's predictable a little bit on a cursory level, not like down to the nitty-gritty details, but I had figured out going into it, like, okay...
Yeah,
these monsters or whatever that shows Mysterio fighting in the trailers, they're illusions that he's created, right? And so he's just pretending to be a good guy. That's what it had to be. I didn't know the details of it in that turns out that he had invented the holographic technology that Tony Stark used in the beginning of Civil War when he's like, talking with his mother and father and in front of like MIT. And so so he had invented that, and so he's using that technology to create the illusions that Mysterio creates, and it's all just holograms. Drones flying around projecting holograms. And he's got a whole team of people helping him out that are all disgruntled former employees of Stark Industries.
Like the one guy who was like being yelled at, I was like, okay, but he was being yelled at by Obadiah Stane. Like,
but what's great is that guy. I mean, they just went and found that actor and brought him into this movie.
Yeah,
like from the very first Iron Man movie. They got the guy that Obadiah Stane was yelling at and brought him into this movie.
Yep.
To be a part of Mysterio's plan. And it's just a whole bunch of disgruntled former employees of Stark Industries putting this plan together to basically position Mysterio as like the world's new greatest hero and get the adoration that they all believe they deserve.
So Stark left a pair of sunglasses for Peter that has
Edith.
Even in
death,
I'm
even
the
dead,
hero.
I'm the hero.
Even dead, I'm the hero. That was a pretty funny delivery in the movie, but yeah, and these glasses, they have like they can do all the shit that like Jarvis and
well, you saw Tony Stark use his sunglasses to access Friday and Jarvis in the movies, and so it's those sunglasses.
It's those sunglasses, but with a new AI.
And so, but it gives Peter access to Stark Industries systems, including like a defense satellite,
which I feel like the world should be more concerned about than they are. Like,
yeah,
hey, wait a minute, why
especially
did Tony
Stark, a big part of the first Iron Man was that Stark would no longer produce weapons.
Yeah, but then Age of Ultron,
right? So this might be left over from as a response to
the
Ultron?
original. Well, there was the original. Yeah, the original Avengers movie made him go like the other way, and then he made Ultron trying to.
Right. So this might be another response to like Ultron or something. Yeah. That he had made.
Or a similar sort of response as Ultron.
Right.
And yeah, it's but I'm just like, I feel like people should be a little more worried that there's a private corporation satellite, Stark Industries. Like, it says Stark Industries across it. It's not like...
And it's pretty massive.
It's not a S.H.I.E.L.D. satellite. It's not an Avengers satellite. Not even an Iron Man satellite. It's Stark Industries satellite.
And it launches drones equipped with machine guns.
Machine guns and sonic blast things and, like, lightning gun things.
And some sort of laser cutting implement.
Decidedly weaponized drones.
Yeah.
And it launches a lot of them. Like, when that opened up and launched the one, I was like, yeah, okay. And then when it opened up and launched all of them, I was like, I feel like the people of the world are not as concerned about this as they should be.
Well, I mean, you saw the murals in, like, every city in the world.
Yeah.
Tony Stark's a hero. Can do no wrong.
Yeah, so that's, that's Mysterio's plan. Like, he ends up using the drones and the satellite, pulling more drones down to create bigger holograms, because he needs an Avengers level event to fight to save the day, to be the new Iron Man, basically.
Yeah. Oh, one thing was pretty funny when he's attacking London, and Spider-Man's sort of disrupting some of the drones, and he's got to come up. He comes up with like some like BS story for like what's going on with this monster to tell Nick Fury, and Nick Fury's like, and he turns to was it Maria, and he's like, no, that's some bullshit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was Happy, like, saying something about a surfboard. Like, he left a surfboard.
No, that was because that was the difference, because he's like, don't call me again.
Oh yeah. You're talking
but then
about
he's talking about when Mysterio was like trying to like bullshit the story of like what this monster was, and he's like, and he's like, no, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought like there were some.
Use your words.
They used Mysterio's like illusions to some really great effect, like when he lures Peter into that warehouse.
Oh yeah, that was a really neat sequence. That was a really cool sequence with like all the shifting. It felt very much like something from like aesthetically, it just seemed very much like something from Sandman.
Yeah,
like a lot of the weird, like almost grotesque imagery and stuff.
Yeah. There's some really cool stuff there. So, some other spoilers. Oh, this one got like everyone in the theater excited. So the
you're talking about J.J. Sims?
Yeah, the mid-credit scene, not like middle, but during the credit scene. When J. Jonah Jameson, as played by J.K. Simmons, announces to the world through his podcast or whatever
Yeah, he in this universe, the Daily Bugle is basically InfoWars. Like
Yeah.
the broadcast even looked like something from InfoWars.
But everyone got super excited when it was J.K. Simmons.
They made pictures of Spider-Man.
But yeah, and it was revealed that they doctored some footage when Spider-Man was fighting Mysterio that made it look like Spider-Man murdered Mysterio.
And had planned to use the drones to murder all of London.
Right. And then he also revealed Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker.
Yep.
And then the post-credit scene is Nick Fury and Agent
Maria Hill.
Yeah, Agent Hill. It's like you know her name. She's a bigger role in the comics than she is in the movies.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nick Fury and Agent Hill are like driving along, and then it turns out that they're
Krennic.
Yeah, Krennic, the Kree.
Yeah.
The main.
I can't even remember the actor's name who played Director Krennic.
From Captain Marvel. I wanted to say Ms. Marvel. Captain Marvel. So yeah, the main leader of the Kree and his wife are Nick Fury and Maria Hill.
Which explains why Mysterio managed to get as far with his plan as he did, because if you and I sat down
I really felt that they were off their game in this.
Yeah.
Like throughout the movie, I'm like, I feel like they're kind of off their game a little bit. And that explains it. Also, it explains because at one point, Parker mentions Captain Marvel, and Nick Fury says,
"Don't invoke
her name." Well, when you know that it's actually that Kree or Skrull, not Kree, Skrull. Anyway, and so he calls Nick Fury to update him on what's going on, and you find like Nick Fury is on a spaceship just filled with Skrull. So this might be where they replace Shield with Sword in the MCU. And so he's got something big going on with like space stuff. Yeah. Maybe Nick Fury will even appear in Guardians 3 or something, who knows.
Yeah, that's a long ways off though, man.
Yeah.
Cuz since what's his name is back on it.
James Gunn.
James Gunn is back on it. They have to wait until he's done making Suicide Squad 2 before he starts on that.
Yeah, that's why I think I have a feeling that Guardians 3 will probably wind up being another movie that just sort of centered on... It just moves the Guardians plot forward and not the MCU as a whole, necessarily.
Yeah.
Unless it, like, brings forth events or characters that aren't going to be dealt with for quite a ways down the line. I don't even know what the next Marvel movie is anyway, so...
Next. Marvel movies. What does Google say?
Marvel.
Well, according to Collider, is we got the untitled Black Widow movie, the Eternals. Are they still making that?
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Oh,
I'm actually kind of excited for that.
I forgot about that.
Guardians 3, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, yeah.
Alright.
So
it's going to be another slow build to something big, probably.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, though. Like, what the next one is, though. I'm guessing not Guardians 3.
So is Spider-Man now, like, the lead Avenger?
Or is he currently a fugitive from the law?
Or the only Avenger?
Well, okay, so here's the thing, is like he's like, what about Thor? Oh, he's off planet. What about Captain Marvel? Like, don't invoke her name. I'm like, okay, but what about Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Right. Or the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. Although, I mean, he's kind of retired now, right?
I guess.
But, like, I mean, yeah, what about Hawkeye? And what about...
Well, I think he actually did retire. I mean, he was supposed to be retired before.
Yeah. But what about Falcon and what about Winter Soldier? They're supposed to be...
I think they could have maybe handled all this, too.
Yeah. Or maybe somehow Mysterio, like, convinced, not Nick Fury that it had to be Spider-Man. Maybe there was something that he was like, yeah, I mean, those guys are good, but Spider-Man is really the best we have.
Yeah, we just didn't see that happen, Oscar. Because part of his whole plan was getting to Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
To get the access to Edith. So, yeah, that could have been. We just didn't see it happen. So, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Oh, so also Peter and MJ hook up.
Yep. Yeah, there were people in the theater cheering.
Yep.
Which I was like, I mean, they had to in this one, right? I mean, in all the other ones, Spider-Man has a girlfriend by the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And she always knows who he is, too.
Although I like the way they took MJ, because she's just like this, like, socially awkward, too smart for her own good, like, more intelligent than, like, social, you know, like,
yeah.
And I thought that was a interesting direction to take her in. Of course, having Peter attend this, like, exclusive, like, smart kid school.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up with
you also
personalities like that.
Yeah, and you also had, they, like, changed Flash Thompson to being the kind of bully you would get at, like, an intelligent school. Like, not like you... Flash Thompson was always the physical beat-up Peter Parker bully.
Yeah.
And then now he's the just...
Yeah, but people don't do that anymore. Now people are cyber
but also in the kind of school that, like, the science-focused school that he's supposed to be attending, it wouldn't make sense for the jock-type bully, and it's the social and intellectual bully.
Right. But yeah, so go see this movie.
Yep.
If you haven't already. If you have, go see it again.
Definitely. Go see Spider-Man.
So our next movie is Stuber, which looks really funny. I'm really excited to see that movie, and hopefully our video for that should probably be going up like Tuesday.
Tuesday, probably.
And then also the weekend immediately following that, the weekend immediately following that is The Art of Self-Defense. Which we need to see if we're even...
We haven't even looked up to see if we can see that.
Yeah. And then Lion King, obviously we're gonna see Lion King. Everyone's gonna see Lion King. You're gonna see Lion King. I'm gonna see Lion King. Nolan's gonna see Lion King.
Yep.
You are gonna see Lion King. Your mom's gonna see Lion King. Our mom's gonna see Lion King.
Oh, real quick, one other joke I thought was pretty great in Spider-Man was his teacher was talking about how when the snap happened, his wife used the opportunity to fake her death and disappear and run off with some other guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, we had a funeral for her and everything, and it all turned out to be fake. Well, I mean, the funeral was real. But she just wasn't actually there.
Yeah, man, that guy was...
You kind of like, well, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for the guy ultimately, though. He really does not have his life together.
Nope.
At all. I just bumped the mic. So hopefully that doesn't sound terrible at right around 30 minutes. Well,
I probably won't worry about it.
30 minutes into the recording, not necessarily 30 minutes into the video. Yeah, I'm trying to find if we're going to be able to see The Art of Self-Defense anywhere around here.
We'll worry about that later. Let's wrap this video up.
I gotta know now. But yeah, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the end of the month. I'm super excited about that. What about you?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Even Mom thinks this looks good.
Yeah, we're probably gonna end up having to go take her to see that, I guess. Yeah, according to Fandango, there's nowhere right now scheduled near us
I figured that might be the case.
for the Art of Self-Defense. That's unfortunate. By the way, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 159 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long one.
That's a longin'. And think we're gonna pay the same amount for that as we do for, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say Stuber because I don't think we're actually paying for that.
Whoop, Playmobil.
Muted the video there, muted the recording there for a couple seconds.
Anyway, let's finish this up.
Yep. Cool. So, if any of that upcoming stuff sounds of interest to you, hit that alert button down there. Give us a like, whatever. Go check out our other videos. What was our last review? It was for yesterday. That's right. And
another movie that I recommend.
Yep. And our next one's gonna be for Stuber. So, yeah, check those out. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.